Hey everybody, it's officially 1 year on testosterone, um, and I feel fucking fantastic. Um, I don't think for a while that I thought that this day would come, especially when I was pre-T. I am much happier, much more outgoing. I find it easier to speak up and stand up for myself. What else? Yeah, as far as physical changes goes, I think everything is either tapering off or is just getting a little bit more intense. So as far as voice dropping goes, I think that's tapered off. Every now and then, like, I feel like it's getting deeper, but I've heard that once you're at the year mark, not to expect any major changes, so I really don't. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a slight variation a couple of months from now than from where I am right now. Facial hair is nice and thick. It really only grows out in the chin strap area. I don't really get much of a mustache. That is coming in thicker. Like, it's just every day, it's just a little bit thicker. And I went from shaving a couple of months ago, like once a week, to now having to do it every day. If not, I get just this really intense 5 o'clock shadow, and it's just all scraggly and unkempt. Even these little hairs grow out kind of long, and so I have to trim them at least once a week. If not, it's just like scraggly, and some are kind of long and some are short. So I just, manscape. What else? I've noticed things that I've noticed that have happened to me that I haven't really seen other trans guys talk about. Have been things like the consistency of my hair. So it's coarser, and it seems like it's thinned out a bit. So it's not as thick as it used to be, but it's a bit rougher. Um, Body fat, I feel like that is still redistributing. But I know guys who've been on T for 5, 6, 7 years, and their body fat is still redistributing. I think it's just one of those things that is going to take time to get where it needs to be at. And then obviously things like diet and working out or stopping working out or whatever are also going to change the way that testosterone affects the shape of your body. So I'm not really concerned about that. I get read as male like 90% of the time. Every now and then, like, I still do get misgendered, but I think that's mostly because of my height and my stature. Like, I'm only like 5 feet tall. So I'm a pretty short dude, and I think when people look at me, especially from the back, they're like, "Oh, that must be a girl," um, which is kind of a surprise once I turn around. But it's fun. I don't really mind. I like sort of fucking with people's ideas of gender anyway. Um, Basically, I am just a pretty happy dude. Um, I've been looking into getting top surgery for a while now because I feel like it finally would be a little bit feasible. Um, I, where I'm employed at, I just got insurance, and I was reading through the booklet that comes along with it, and they will cover 80% of a mastectomy. So what I'm looking for right now is to see if there are any surgeons, um, plastic surgeons, people who have had experience with doing top surgery on trans guys, seeing if they will code it as a mastectomy, so if they'll medically bill it and code it as such, so I can get 80% of that covered. Because I would much rather pay like $2,500 than like $7,000 to $9,000. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I think I was looking at Dr. Medley and also Dr. Paul Weiss in New York. Yeah, he's in New York. So those are the two where I've actually left messages and sent emails, seeing if they'll bill it and code it as such. And then I guess we'll just go from there. I wouldn't be looking to do this probably until next spring because I would still need time to save up whatever insurance isn't going to cover, and I would also need time to save up traveling expenses. But that's what I'm looking at right now, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm excited to have insurance in general, just for regular health checkups and whatnot. Um, what else? As far as non-physical stuff goes, I guess lately I've been feeling a bit estranged from the FTM community. Um, Mostly because a lot of what I've seen lately is just a lot of white middle class kids being complete privilege deniers. And aside from that, I feel like there are very few spaces where a trans man of color can go, and I've noticed that even locally. So like, there's a local group here, San Antonio Gender Association, and they do awesome stuff as far as reaching out to the community and providing education and being a resource for transgender people. Um, but it's mostly white. And so, like, I went to a meeting a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't been in maybe like 2 or 3 years when I first started, even coming to terms with my gender identity and whatnot. So I hadn't been there in a couple of years, but I went and I was looking for some top surgery resources and also just kind of, looking to hang out with other FTM dudes because I feel like that was something that I was doing a lot of at the very beginning of my transition. Like the first 2 months, is I was seeking out people who were like me, and then that just kind of tapered off because I got so involved in work and school and just life in general. Um, so I wanted to just reach out to that again and just talking to these other guys and having them ask like, well, are you gonna get top surgery now, and having a conversation with them and being like, well, I can't really afford it, and then having them say things like, well, you should just get a credit card, that's how I paid for mine. And I'm like, you're not understanding that I am not exactly a wealthy person of color, and my credit sucks, so that's sort of out of the question. So I'm getting a little bit frustrated with this idea that everyone has the same type of access to money as they do. And by they, I mean privileged, trans people. Um, so I think, and I was talking about this with a friend of mine, as I think what I want to do is figure out a way to start another group specifically for trans people of color, since our issues tend to vary so much from those who are not people of color. And I think I'm probably going to do that. I just need to figure out like a meeting space, and I need to figure out how to get the word out to other people of color who are trans. So I think I'm going to do that because, at least in my own journey, I've noticed that I am much happier and much more content with life, much more comfortable with myself. Not only because of testosterone, but because I have had such a good response from the Chicano and Chicana community, and I've had such a good response from friends who are also trans people of color. They've been really good resources, and they've been awesome friends to hang out with, and I would like to sort of continue that on a wider level. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to start your own group and just like community building in general, feel free to message me or leave a comment or something. But other than that, I am doing fantastic. I thought about doing one of those super typical montage videos where they show your like baby pictures, and then they show your like pre-T pictures, and then your slow progression to like being 1 year on testosterone. But that means I would have to go and find pictures. And I just moved, and my mom just moved a few months ago. So all those pictures are just spread out in boxes. And the ones that I do have of me that are pretty are on Facebook. And so I don't really feel the need to do that anymore. But I might still do one anyway, just because it's rare to see like a brown trans man out there on YouTube. So I'll probably end up doing that when I have more time. I also want to start making videos again because I realized that the last one I made was like 8 months ago. But I was kind of like at a weird, unstable point in my life as far as money and stuff goes, and now I'm okay. So I am going to plan on doing that I would like to talk about stuff that isn't just physical transition related. So maybe talk about my experiences with racism as far as transitioning from a female of color to a male of color. Like, there's a lot there that needs to be said. But other than that, this is just what I look like when you're on testosterone, and I'm alive, and I'm well, and I'm happier than ever, and I can't believe that I'm at this point in my life. So, I guess I'll see you guys next time.